And with that, Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please.
Commissioner Abraham,
Present.
Commissioner Galt,
Present.
Commissioner Taylor,
Present.
Commissioner Watkins,
Present.
Mayor Paxton.
Present. As we have done in the past, we are inviting guest ministers to give our invocation. Last week and this week, or has it been for the whole month? The whole month of January, we have had Reverend Ray Henderson, and he is here again today. So, Ray, if you'll come to the podium, and I'll ask, after you give the invocation, Commissioner Abraham to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And if we'll all stand, please.
Gracious Father, again, we are so grateful for this day and for the blessings that we right now enjoy. Father, we're grateful for the privileges and for all the great things that we enjoy, not only in this country, but we're grateful particularly for what we enjoy in our own community, Paducah. Father, we thank you for the privileges that you've given us to serve this community. We're grateful, Lord God, for the privileges that you've given us to work and to make a difference, and how we pray that your hand will be upon those persons, particularly our city commission. We ask, God, that you would be in the midst of this meeting tonight, that you will guide discussion, that you will guide dialogue, that you'll guide hearts and motives. God, everything that's done, everything that's said tonight, we want it to bring glory to you, and we want Paducah to be a better place because of the decisions made tonight. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Henderson. Okay, Mr. City Manager, any additions or deletions?
No.
All right, thank you. We have a couple presentations tonight, and we'll start out with Roe Morris, Henry Barber, that will talk about that.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission, for letting us be here tonight. And Pam is always so generous when we want to share something with you. Our Dogwood Trail will be coming up in April, and as we're going into the spring, it looks like we may have early blooming. We don't know, but we have a new little twist this year, and it's very special and will be extra meaningful this year. We've partnered, our Civic Beautification Board has partnered with Boy Scout Troop 1 in their flag fundraising program. And I don't know if you all are familiar with that or not. You can go online to Troop1, like the number 1, Paducah.com. It's an adorable site. We just love it. But they will take, for a $50 donation, and it all goes to the troop for the Boy Scouts, every holiday like President's Day, Labor Day, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, Flag Day, 4th of July, 6 of the days, they will come and put a flag in your front yard. They put a little sleeve down in your yard. They get up early in the morning and they come and they place the flag. And then in the evening when the sun goes down, they come back, they salute the flag, and they retire it. They've agreed, if you're on the Dogwood Trail and you're involved in their program, that they will come every day for a week and put the flag every day. Excuse me, I misspoke. They will come the beginning of the week of the trail when everything's blooming and it's officially the trail, and they will leave the flag for a week if you're willing to spotlight it overnight or bring it in at night, because flag etiquette requires it has a designated spotlight. But they will add that week of your having the flag. It's a great idea, and we want to honor our troops. So this year we're saying, let's light up Paducah and salute our troops. That's our theme this year for the Dogwood Trail. We wanted to share that with you all. And one other little added thing about this year, it's our 48th trail. We're kind of building up to our 50th trail. Those of us who have lived here all of our lives, we kind of take the Dogwood Trail for granted. And the years that I was at the Visitors Bureau, I found out what that means to people who come into Paducah just to drive our trail, believe it or not. Hundreds, maybe thousands. The Visitors Bureau would definitely tell you thousands, and tour buses that come in to drive our trail. It's a beautiful part of our city, and it's something that we take a lot of pride in. This year, what we're wanting to do, because we've had some criticism, as you all have probably heard, that the trail is always the same little area over and over. Since last fall, in all different forms of the media, we've been inviting any neighborhood, like 5 homes, a cluster of 5 homes or more, that's willing to commit to lighting up. We will bring the trail to your neighborhood. So we have a deadline, and that's one of the reasons we're here tonight, and it's tomorrow. And if they'll call 519-1321 and commit, we will bring the trail to them. It will be on the map, and the signs will lead to their neighborhood. So if anybody is listening or watching this and they want their neighborhood to be on the Dogwood Trail, this is your year to let us know, and we'll make sure that it's incorporated. We're going to lead from neighborhood to neighborhood and light up to salute our troops.
So how long have you given them, how long has it been that they've had?
Last fall, Dabney, when did we start? Was it in August or September, something like that? And we really started every month in October in each form of the media, letting people know what we were doing. So we're getting right down now to the end. I think actually in the Paducah Sun today, they had another reminder about it.
Lots of people sign up.
Most of them are the same neighborhoods that are, it sounds like a little thing, but to get 5 homes to agree to light for that week at the Dogwood Trail every night, it's a commitment.
Right.
And people take it seriously. People that are even on the trail don't light every night.
Right.
So, our ice storm, and Henry's going to talk about that just a little bit, really did some damage to a lot of our trees, we all know. I mean, it was devastating. And a lot of the dogwoods were protected underneath the canopy of the larger trees, but a lot of them had the tops taken off. We lost some, and we're really encouraging. Henry's going to tell you about that. We have another level of this Dogwood Trail building up to our 50th year. I'm not going to take all your stuff.
So before Roll leaves the podium, does anybody have a question or anything?
It is totally my fault that they're not here. Absolutely and totally my fault. They would all be here tonight had I called and reminded them earlier. I called and left a message this afternoon as a reminder. It's totally my fault. I got too many irons in the fire, and they would have been here. They show up every time we call. That's my fault that they're not here, and I apologize on their behalf because they would have been here in a heartbeat.
Sure they would have. Sure they would have.
Ro, does Civic Beautification have a Facebook page?
We're on Paducah.gov, and you can just go there down to Civic Beautification, and it tells all about it. It's been on there since when, Pam? Would you say October? Yes. And we update it. Pam is, as you all know, tremendous at keeping that current. So, any other questions from me? Henry's the one with all of the real answers.
Okay, thank you, Roll.
I would say, who knows when they'll bloom? We don't. We usually guess about the second week of April. The tentative trail has already been set up, and the signs will go up sometime around the end of March and be there all during April. So people will know that they're on the trail not only by the signs, but they will get postcards stating that they're on the trail. We're asking everybody to light up early. I know the school break comes during that first week of April when people are gone. They need to light up or put their lights out before that time or right about the Easter weekend, because sometime during that second week of April, the Civic Beautification Board will announce a night when members will go around to look for the lighted trees that are deserving of an award. Those award presentations will be made later in April at the second commission meeting, and at that time there'll be a reception here as well. There will be no buses traveling the trail. That was true last year, and that is true again this year. The interesting different part this year is that we will have a tree sale, a dogwood tree sale going on the second Saturday in April. That'll be the 14th of April. They'll be in 2 locations, one out at Kyler Park and the other down at the gazebo. And anybody who buys a tree will have a little card stating all about how to plant and care for that tree. This is a great opportunity for newer neighborhoods that don't have dogwoods or only have small ones to increase their dogwood capacity in that neighborhood, or neighborhoods that have none, and I can think of some in the city. They could enhance their appearance as well. So Paducah, of course, as we know, is noted for dogwoods, and I say just develop the resource. Conclude by saying plant more dogwoods, light up Paducah, and salute our troops.
Good. What now, Dabney, are you going to talk about the trees that were planted by the garden club?
No, I had planned to. I'd be happy to tell you a little bit if you want.
Yeah, why don't you come up and just say what you can say, because that was in the paper this morning,
Yes.
and,
We planted 25 more of our canopy trees. In other words, oaks, ball cypress, lots of the larger trees at this time. And we're hoping, I think sometime in March, to plant some of the smaller bushes, shrubs, and dogwoods. We'd like to get those in time for the dogwood trail, even if they're not blooming, just to have them there and get them started. So we're hopeful that we can get that done. So if we do, that'll mean that we've planted 50 trees this year to kind of enhance that entire area, the
all
Jefferson,
in the Jefferson
Jefferson
Street
Street.
Parkway.
Yes, the boulevard.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's,
And the
that's
weather has been great, lots of water.
absolutely. In fact, I might just say this now. If people are worried about planting, as long as the ground is not frozen, it's a good time to plant. So you could plant a dogwood right now, and, you know, if you can find one, if you can get one from a nursery. And I think maybe a couple of the nurseries may have some. So if you're interested, you might want to think about it.
And this is the Paducah Garden Club's anniversary.
Yes, this is the 100th anniversary of the Garden Club of America. And this is a project, it's called the Centennial Project. And we've taken it on to plant 100 trees in honor of the 100 years. And really, the timing was perfect for us just after the ice storm. We needed it.
Right.
So we're just happy to be a part of this and hope that our children and grandchildren will enjoy what we've done, you know,
Right.
at this time.
Any questions for Debney?
I just thank you.
Yeah.
You're so welcome.
Thank you all. and Thank you, Ro
Thank
and
you.
Henry. I think the Boy Scouts is a great program. I hope people will use them and take advantage of that, because it will definitely even more beautify our community. Great, great, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's wonderful. Okay, thank you all very much. You all can stay, you don't have to leave. Oh, okay. All right, we have Robert Robertson and Ben Tier with Williams, Williams and Lentz. And first, John Perkins, our finance person, is going to introduce them.
Mayor and
Thank you.
Commissioners. Tonight we have with us Robert Robertson and Ben Tier with Williams, Williams and Lentz CPAs, our financial auditors. WWL performed our most recent financial audit, which was fiscal year 2011, and they are here to answer any audit-related questions that you might have. So Robert and Ben, if you can come on up. And by the way, this is for the public viewing audience and for anybody else in the room that'd like to know this. All audit reports fiscal 2011 back to fiscal 2002 can be viewed on our website, and that is www.paducah.gov.
Okay, so John, we received our booklet several weeks ago.
Yes.
And we probably should have brought them with us to this meeting.
Well, between the three of us, there's probably, if you have any questions, I suspect we've looked at it enough that we could probably tell you what it says, but
Okay,
you're right, we did send that out several weeks ago. And this is the first meeting that we could get scheduled to bring the auditors in to actually talk to you about this.
yeah, okay, good, thank you. Robert, welcome.
What I will do, since you do not have that with you, I may just, in the report, or the report that is a part of your CAFR, your Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, approximately 150 pages, I believe, in length, I might mention there are 3 reports that are independent auditors' reports that are a part of that, and I might just kind of summarize those 3 reports because that's, I think, what's most important. I believe it is, at least for most people. Anyway, the actual independent auditor's report that's in the front part actually happens to be on page 11. We give our opinion in reference to these financial statements that we have audited, and our opinion is an unqualified opinion, and it's the bottom part of page 11. I'm not going to read it. It's a fairly long paragraph, which is what everyone desires to get, and so it is an unqualified opinion as far as the financial statements are concerned. Because the city receives in excess of $500,000 in federal awards, then it's required to undergo what we call a single audit. And that requires some additional compliance work and relating to federal funds. And so there are two additional reports in there. Whoa. There are two additional reports, I guess. One coming in with a bang, I suppose.
Yeah.
Those two reports are toward the end of that, and I thought I might mention what we reported on there. And one has to do with auditing according to governmental standards, governmental auditing standards, and I'll just read the last sentence of that. It says, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control over financial reporting that we consider to be a material weakness as we've defined in this. So that's an unqualified. Then also there are other matters that we address in compliance, and we, in that case, the last sentence of that part of the report says the results of our tests disclose no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported under government auditing standards. And the third report relates specifically to federal programs. And we state in here, in our opinion, the city of Paducah, Kentucky complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements that relate to major federal programs and would have a direct or material effect on each major program for the year ended June 30. And that, there is additional compliance, and it's a similar statement is made in reference to that. So we actually have 4 compliance statements relating to the various aspects of a governmental audit. If you want to get a overall summary of that, you go to page 145, and it is a summary. It's a schedule of findings and question cost, and we didn't have any findings, so there were no exceptions as far as the report was concerned. The audit went well. Your finance department was very helpful in our performing that, and we're thankful for that. If you have any questions, of course, we'll be glad to address that.
Why don't you hold up the book? It's
not
an
clipped together
extremely
now.
thick book.
Approximately 150 pages.
150 pages. And so it's a very thorough audit. And you've been doing the audit for the city, Williams, and Lentz, for how many years?
We did it a number of years, and then there was a gap of about 5 years, and we've been, 3? This is the 3rd year.
And
of this.
you've always had clean audits.
Yes, we have.
So I think this city commission is extremely proud of the job that our finance department does with John Perkins as its manager, and we're pleased that Williams Lentz realizes that and finds that out in the audit. And so we appreciate your thoroughness and appreciate you coming here tonight to give the report.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to do the work.
Would any of the commissioners like to comment on what they've heard?
I don't have any comments, sir.
John, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Mayor, with your permission, I would like to thank the Finance Department staff because it does take about a year for us to put this together, and we work very closely with the auditors. The CAFR, as Robert was saying, takes about a year, and it's really critical to have a smart, efficient, and well-organized staff to get that done. This will be our 21st CAFR that we put together with the auditors over the last 21 years. And so I'd like to personally thank each staff member for working so hard toward that end. Auditor Herndon, Judy Nelson, Douglas McClure, Kathy Graham, Stacy Young, Stephanie Millay, Angela Copeland, Heather Rushing, and Beverly Scruggs. And thank you all for supporting us too.
City Manager, I know this is, I guess, your second audit since you've been city manager. You have any
Well,
comments?
first I want to say I appreciate an auditor presenting an audit that talks about the audit and doesn't present financial advice to the city necessarily. I would just like to reiterate, and I think it's been mentioned before, we talk a lot about the CAFR and 20-some successive awards. CAFR is an elective thing. The city does not have to prepare that. Typically, auditors are prepared prepared financial statements, and that's it. So the decision to do a CAFR is made by the finance office, and the commitment for that is made there as well. So it is a conscious decision by that office with the support of the city commission, because we do incur a little bit more cost with our auditor to include with the audit the first, what we call the first and third sections, which are the introductory and statistical sections that round out the CAFR. So it's I think a purposeful intention to go above and beyond and make a strong statement about not only the quality of our financial systems, but our commitment to being fully open with the public and disclosing everything that we have to disclose. So that's very commendable in itself, in addition to getting the clean audit and getting the award, just the fact that the decision is made to go for it.
And that comes from an individual who's fairly new city manager, and I think that's why I wanted him to comment, because we are proud of this finance department and the job that they do in keeping us all straight. So, all right, thank you, men. Appreciate it.
Page 145. Page 145.
Okay, we will go ahead and start with the minutes. Commissioner Abraham.
I move that the reading of the minutes for January 10th and January 17th, 2012 meeting be waived, and that the minutes of said meetings prepared by the city clerk be approved as written.
Second.
Okay, questions? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Watkins?
Aye.
Mayor Paxton?
Aye. Okay, as you all know, on appointments, we do the airport a little bit different. And I wanted to read that with my appointment to the airport board, and I have his biography and his accomplishments behind it. So I, William F. Paxton, pursuant to KRS 183.132, hereby reappoint Gail Kaler and appoint William Joseph Miller as a member of the Barkley Regional Airport Authority, Kentucky Air Board, for the term shown commencing December 31st, 2011 and ending December 31st, 2016. So that's really all we have to do on it, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah. As most of you know, Alan Rhodes resigned from the airport board, and William Miller, I don't believe he's here tonight, as you can see, was an employee of Crowns Corporation, was their pilot early on, and for medical reasons had to get out of that. But he's familiar with the airport and with airplanes, and I think he'll be an excellent board member. Also, Gail Kaler has been serving as a board member, and we wanted to reappoint her. Gail, you have any comments to make on that?
I'm just excited to be serving on the board with Mr. Miller. I think he's extremely qualified. He's has not served on a board before. He's very excited about serving on this airport board, and I think he'll be an excellent board member. Bring a lot into that.
Yeah, he has not, like she says, served on the board. He wanted to make sure that he could do a good job. He wanted to make sure that he was going to be able to bring to the board what I expected him to bring. And he now knows that he can, so I'm convinced he'll be an excellent board member. All right. Whereas, subject to the approval of the Board of Commissioners, I hereby reappoint Raymond E. McClendon as a member of the Electric Plant Board. This term will expire February 6th, 2016. And whereas, subject to the approval of the Board of Commissioners, I hereby reappoint Jeff Peterson as a member of the Electric Plant Board. This appointment shall be for such time as he is employed as city manager of the city of Paducah.
I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the action of Mayor Paxton in reappointing Raymond E. McLennan and Jeff Peterson as members of the Electric Plant Board.
Second.
Any questions? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Watkins,
Aye.
Mayor Paxton.
Aye. I just want to thank Ray. Ray's here tonight. Ray has served on the board for how many years? 16th, and the last 2 terms has served as chairman, or that's correct. So I'm extremely pleased that Ray has agreed to run for another 4-year term. Brings a lot of experience to the board and a lot of experience to the chairmanship. So Ray, congratulations. To Jeff, Jeff as our city manager has experience in the power sector and brings a lot of experience to that position. So Jeff, I appreciate your time serving on that.
Pleasure.
This is a new day with Paducah Power owning 7% of Prairie State Power Company up in southern Illinois. We're not just anymore a sleepy little power distributor. We're pretty much a major player, and this power company will allow Paducah Power to furnish the public, our public, with good, reliable power, and that is because we also have the coal that powers the plant underneath the plant, and it's a 30-year supply. So we should have, for our constituents, a good, reliable, not inexpensive, but reasonable power rates for the foreseeable future. As far as economic development prospects, I believe that we have a tool that will help us to attract prospects to Paducah, because we will be able to negotiate with that company on creative ways that we can supply that company with power. So because of that, this city commission wants the best qualified board members that we can get, and I think we have that. So Ray and Jeff, thank you all for serving, and look forward to the next several years. Any questions?
Can I ask Ray a question?
Yes, sir.
Ray, when will Prairie State be fully operational? That'd be this summer sometime, won't it?
Should be May or June of this year.
Really? Okay.
We should have we plan on having a ribbon cutting sometime in the early part of June, and it should be fully operational. They're testing both the units now, so that's working now. Most construction's done, but
Would you mind saying that again up at the podium? That's important, and I want everybody to understand.
Prairie State should be operational by either May or June of this year here, depending on how the tests go. We're going to have a ribbon cutting in the early part of June with the completed plant there, and so it should be fully operational at that time. I mean, things can happen. When anything new, you start testing it, you get leaks here and problems here, and you go fix those, and you to get the most efficiency out of the unit. But Unit 1 has been up and running for a while, and they're getting close to the peak power out of that one, and then Unit 2 will be finished in May or June.
Great.
And that with our peaking plant, remember our peaking plant sits out there, and even something happened to Prairie State, it can provide us enough power to supply our needs 80% of the time.
Peaking plant's already operational.
It's built, completely done, and has been functioning for about a year and a half.
I hate to put you on the spot, but could you go ahead and give the names of the other board members that are serving on the board?
Adolphus Jones is our newest board member, Hardy Roberts, and then Randy Warmoth.
Warmoth, yeah.
And let me think. And Jeff.
And Jeff.
Of course. Yeah. Sorry, right in front of me. But that's our board members, and they work really hard. There's a lot of information there. It's a lot of different technology if you're not an electrical engineer, and that you really need to know about before you approve these contracts or approve stuff. Before, we were a TVA distributor, and basically TVA made all the decisions about transmission and generation, and we had no say in it. If they made bad decisions, we paid for it. If they made good decisions, we got the benefits of it, but it worked both ways. This way, we're in control. One of the reasons why we picked to do this is I looked around for the last 100 years in Kentucky, and the two utilities that consistently had the lowest prices was Owensboro and Henderson. And the reason they had that is because Owensboro and Henderson has their own power. And of the municipals that are public utilities, that's the only two in the state at that time that owned their own power plants. We're also in the joint project with AMP Ohio that they're building some dams on the Ohio River that we get a percentage out of that, and that power will start coming in around 2015 or 2016. So we're not just relying on coal. We have coal for our basic power because it's the cheapest. We have natural gas as a backup here because it's the second cheapest, and then we got long term. We got hydro, which is a little more expensive when you first get it, but obviously once you get the dam paid for, from then on, there's no cost except for the operational cost in it. So we've tried to use a diverse portfolio to supply our needs so we can stay, maybe not cheap, but long term, you won't be seeing large swings of rate increases in this area. And that's our ideal. We get a stable, reliable power long term so we can offer some company coming here a good, reliable power.
Good.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ray?
Just thank you for your long-term vision, Ray, for you and the board for what you're doing.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that.
Ray, I wonder if you might offer another comment. It's been pretty well known in the news that EPA has had new regulations that are in process for coal-fired plants, and there have been some projections come out that a high percentage of the existing coal plants in Kentucky are going to be impacted and potentially some shut down and what have you. Could you give the commission just a little bit of a feel for how we sit with that, given the fact that we bought into a brand new plant?
Most of the power plants in Kentucky are 50 and 60 years old, and even though they have got modifications to it, they don't meet the environmental standards of 2014 or 2015. But we built the plant to meet and exceed all those standards. So we don't have any problems. We have the lowest mercury output, as little carbon as we can, and it's a very efficient, modern plant, one of the most modern ones in the world.
So the significant reinvestment that a lot of utilities are facing.
Unless they write a new law, right now we meet all the laws that's on the books for the current and future compliance that comes in.
Well, I was very impressed. Me and the mayor went down in the coal mine, and I was very impressed with the...
You didn't see me there, did you? You're not going to see me in the coal mine.
I don't blame you. But I was very impressed with the cleanliness and the attention to detail and the safety standards that were being adhered to in that coal mine, and that's all important, but it's a very impressive operation.
The ventilation there and the supports, because every time we've had a mine disaster, I've kind of looked at it and I went back and asked them, okay, how are we different than them? And they've always told me why we are safer than whoever had that mine disaster, because that's very important. I don't want anybody to lose their life getting coal out for us.
Well, what you were talking about, Jeff, it sounds like we're ahead of the curve because some of these other big coal mining power plants are going to have to come up.
That coal was paid for. That 30
Basically,
years
it's
worth
due
of
with
coal was
emissions
already paid for.
standards of
Right.
the burn and
So it's
the
going to cost them a lot of money to bring theirs up. And
Either that or they're going to close.
Yeah.
and switch to alternative fuel
Yeah.
supplies.
All right, Ray, thank you very much.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
I think one of the most important jobs that this commission has is appointing the different board members to all the different boards that we have. And so we have concentrated on putting educated, smart, informed people on these boards, and then we've let them run them the way they see fit. So this board is no exception. So Ray, appreciate it. The last board is joint appointment with the judge executive. Whereas, subject to the approval of the Board of Commissioners and jointly with the McCracken County Judge Executive, I hereby reappoint Bob Hopman and Kim Russ to the Paducah McCracken County Convention and Visitors Bureau Board. These terms will expire December 31st, 2014.
I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the action of Mayor Paxton and jointly with the McCracken County Judge Executive in reappointing Bob Hopman and Kim Rust as members of the Paducah McCracken County Convention and Visitors Bureau Board.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Kaler,
Aye.
Commissioner Watkins,
Aye.
Mayor Paxton.
Quite honestly, I'm not sure of where the county is on their appointment, but I'm assuming that the judge will be either has already made his appointments for the county of these two individuals, or will soon be doing that. So thank you all very much. Moving on, Commissioner Watkins, motions.
I move that the following documents and bids be received and filed under documents: a right-of-way bond, contracts, agreements, Market House Theater amended real estate lease, Siemens Church, River Discovery Center, and Paducah Film Society joint sublease agreement, Commonwealth of Kentucky Department of Corrections lease modification agreement for property located at 400 South 6th Street, Central Paving Company 1-year renewal agreement for compost grinding of tree debris and yard waste, City of Paducah monthly financial reports for September, October, and November 2011, and then bids, Engineering Public Works Department, city's requirement for fuel for 2012 and 2013.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Kaler,
Aye.
Commissioner Watkins,
Aye.
Mayor Paxton.
Aye. Municipal orders, Commissioner Abraham.
Upon the recommendation of the city manager, the Board of Commissioners of the City of Paducah order that the personnel changes on the attached list be approved.
Second.
Okay, any comments, Mr. City Manager?
Unless there are any questions.
Any questions?
No questions.
Pretty cut and dry. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Kaler,
Aye.
Commissioner Watkins,
Aye.
Mayor Paxton.
Aye. Commissioner Galt?
I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Lease Agreement Between James Marine, Inc. and the City of Paducah for lease of property located between Kentucky Avenue, Washington Street, the Tennessee River, and the flood wall" be adopted.
Second.
Okay, Steve, I'm going blank on this. Tell me.
Certainly. There's been a lease on this property since 1985. Every 3 years, we come back before the commission to renew it. It is for a 1-year lease, has the 3 years of options on that property. It is a monthly fee that they do pay to us.
Okay,
This property is not a part of our riverfront master plan either. It's directly to the south.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Steve. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Kaler,
Aye.
Commissioner Watkins?
Aye.
Mayor Paxton?
Aye. Ordinances and adoptions, Commissioner Kaler.
I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance abolishing the current Paducah Renaissance Alliance ordinance, creating a city department entitled Main Street, and creating an advisory board to be known as the Main Street Advisory Board, providing for the appointment and terms of members and establishing the role and purpose of said board. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance abolishes the current Paducah Renaissance Alliance ordinance and establishes PRA as a city department, which will be titled Main Street Department. It also provides for a director for the department and establishes the duties and responsibilities of that position, and defines the mission of the department. Further, this ordinance creates a 9-person advisory board to assist with accomplishing the goals and mission of the Main Street Department.
Second.
Okay, we've discussed this, and I think we're all aware of what's going on. Any questions? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Watkins?
Aye.
Mayor Paxton?
Aye. Congratulations, Jeff. Good job. Okay, ordinances and introductions, Commissioner Watkins.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance approving the final report of the Paducah Planning Commission on the proposed zone change for 3.5 acres of property located adjacent to Bleach Road, aka Kentucky Highway 3074, and amending the Paducah zoning ordinance so as to effect such rezoning. This ordinance is summarized as follows. Rezone 3.5 acres of property located adjacent to Bleach Road, aka Kentucky Highway 3074, from R1 low density residential zone to HBD Highway Business District, and amending the Paducah zoning ordinance to effect such rezoning.
Second.
Okay, Steve?
This is the final piece of the puzzle. In December, the annexation plat came through. Instead of Kentucky properties, automatically comes into the city of Paducah's R1 in this process. So this zone change has gone to the Planning Commission. They held a public hearing. The findings of fact have been submitted to the City Commission. So with approval from the City Commission, they'll get their HBD zoning and be able to move forward with their proposed businesses.
Great. Construction is already started out there, right?
On the 14,000 square foot building, that's correct.
Yeah.
The phase 1, yes.
Yeah, phase 1. And there'll be how many phases?
The second phase are the 2 additional buildings, which I believe are around 6,400 square feet apiece.
Is that the conclusion? Is there a third phase? Or?
There's possibility of other phases outside this property right here, but that hasn't been really brought to the forefront yet.
All right, any questions for Steve? All right, it's an exciting project. I don't know how many of you all have been by that and driven up. It's going to be a nice development.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Steve, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Abraham.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of 2 2012 John Deere 4320 tractors with 1 John Deere 400X loader for the city of Paducah, Kentucky, and authorizes the mayor to execute a contract for same. This ordinance is summarized as follows. That the finance director is authorized to pay $59,200.09 for the purchase of 2 2012 John Deere 4320 tractors with 1 John Deere 400X loader to John Deere Company for the city of Paducah Park Service Department in compliance with Kentucky State Purchasing Contract, and authorizes the mayor to execute a contract for same.
Second.
All right, Mr. City Engineer, what do we got here?
Mayor and Commission, actually what we're doing here is we're updating the Parks and Recreation or Park Services fleet. They've got like 5 different tractors that are of a menagerie of brands and use and I guess their life, and we're trying to reduce the number of tractors they have and get them tractors that are of a like make such that we can take advantages of scale with parts replacements.
Mowers?
No, they're tractors, like all-purpose tractors for like putting implements on them to dress ball fields, to mow, to do all kinds of things that are required in a park services department, because they have a lot of different levels of landscaping that they have to do to keep your parks looking nice.
And the state has the John Deere contract, and that's why we're purchasing them from
Yes, ma'am.
John Deere.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that what I've?
Actually, Hudson Ag is the local distributor on the state contract for that, and that's why we're purchasing through that.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, good. Thank you, Rick. Good job. Commissioner Galt.
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance accepting the bid of JSC Terminal LLC, DBA Midwest Terminal for the city's fuel supply for the 2012 and 2013 calendar years and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for same. This ordinance is summarized as follows. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute an agreement for a period of 2 years with JSC Terminal LLC, DBA Midwest Terminal for the city's supply of gasoline, diesel fuel, and diesel fuel off-road at OPIS, Oil Price Information Service, for price plus
8 cents.
8 cents per gallon.
Second.
Okay, what do we have here?
Mayor Commission, as you all are aware, we've got over 300 vehicles that we have to keep fueled with police, fire, engineering, public works. We need a fueling depot that we can have cars that are, automated such that we can keep up with the records of the fuel, the mileage on the vehicles. We actually use this system to not only fuel the vehicles, but also keep up with their mileage so that we know when to bring them in for service. So it's a pretty complicated system. But
We just renew that contract every year.
well, actually, we rebid it this year because all the renewal periods had expired, and we rebid it, and I think we had like 8 offers as far as plan holders or spec holders, but we only had 1 bid, and that was disturbing to me that we had that many people that had it, but only one JSC was the only bidder.
Mm-hmm. All right, any questions for Rick on that?
Any idea why you think that was?
Well, I think probably because of our requirements, there are several of those providers would like to be party to that, but they can't provide the automated services that we need for when you run that fuel card. You have to enter the mileage, enter the vehicle number, and then we collect that data daily and we compare that, and then that's how we say, well, bring these trucks in or bring these vehicles in for servicing. And then also, one provider has like 9 gas stations in town, but every gas station doesn't have the same price. Well, if we're going to have a contract, we're going to have a fixed price for gasoline, but you might be getting 2 or 3 cents more on the other side of town or a dime more on the other side of town than you are here, but you're the same gas station or the same brand or the same owner. And so a lot of times at the pump, it's difficult for them to say, okay, this is a city card that's been swiped, so what's on the pump is also automated, and it's difficult to do that. I don't profess to know all the details on that, but I do know that we need to be able to get fuel 24/7, and also that stuff needs to go in. We need to be able to key all that information in so we can keep up with your fleet as you would like for us to.
All right, thank you, Rick. Good job. All right, we're to the city manager's report.
A couple things. Week from tomorrow is City Day at the State House. A number of us will be going out there. Of course, one of the bills that's in this year, there may be more than one concerning the public employee retirement system, but at least one of them proposes to switch to a defined contribution system for new hirees going forward, and I assume you all would support that, given the ability to get a little bit of a handle on the cost escalation from the current retirement system. Typically, a defined contribution system would see an employer match at somewhere in the half to a third of what our current match is with our defined benefit system. So we'll see how that's going and monitor that real close as the session goes along, as I'm sure Bill in his leadership position with the league and their committee and lobbyists are doing. Some good news, Steve Irvin is here tonight, but I want to mention it, steal his thunder if I will. He and I met today, and he shared some exciting news with Fountain Avenue. this spring, he's looking forward to letting contracts for 3 more rehabilitation projects of existing structures, and 5 new construction of new structures on existing lots, which is something that Kentucky Heritage Council surprised the city with last year in Frankfurt at Municipal Government Day in Frankfurt. Steve was diverted from where we were to a phone call to come down and answer a question whether he'd accept funding that could lead to money enough to build 5 new houses in Fountain Avenue. I've never seen him run out of a meeting as quick in my life. But the other thing is Steve's and staff have been working hard on the prospect of attracting a private interest in the infill development off 13th Street, and he has an MOU about ready to go and put in circulation, so that'll be coming before you shortly. And wouldn't that be something if that project had matured to the point of where significant private investment has become attractive? So, kudos to Steve and his staff for nurturing that project and bringing it this far, and good things to come yet with it. That's all I have.
Yeah, Steve, good job. Hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed on the 13th Street property. All right, Mr. City Manager, thank you. Commissioner comments.
I just want to follow up on the city manager's report regarding planning. And the longer I'm here in the city and looking at our departments and how they work, the planning department, it requires, you build a rapport with a potential client. Things doesn't work out. You got, 3 or 4 different components of a deal coming. 3 of them will come through, 1 won't. But you still have that rapport. It's patience. It's all of those things in one. And I think Steve and his staff in planning has exemplified all of those things. Particularly, it's been just a big void over on 13th Street with that property. And you think you got something going, and not so much. You think you got something going, and over a period of time, hopefully, we keep our fingers crossed, something will come, because that area of Paducah could use an infusion of activity in that area. So, fingers are crossed, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have Richard. You've got an anchor at 17th Street with the church and with the houses that have been renovated there on 17th Street and in the circle, Fountain Avenue Circle. So you get infill on 13th Street, and all of a sudden you got an anchor on that side. And then all of a sudden you just start filling in. And that makes it a heck of a lot easier.
I think the term appropriately used is actively wait. And I think that's what's been going on in Fountain Avenue. It's maybe some folks out there just looking and waiting. Oh, well, like you just laid out, there's a lot of things going on around. If we plug this in here, then that. So basically, the redevelopment of a neighborhood is a catalyst, possibly for springboard and a lot of other things going on.
And I mention this a lot, but I think we're getting our city ready with reasonable housing where we could be a destination for the baby boomer population that are looking for a place to move, to retire. I think we're going to have to do some advertising along those lines to let the people in New Mexico, California, Arizona know about it. But I think that's the course we ought to take. So, Mr. Irvin?
You're speaking about advertising. Actually, I worked quite a bit with Pam today, and I've been working with some of the local media outlets. In February and March, you're going to start to see a lot more advertising. We have a certain amount of money we put aside each year. We haven't done much advertising, but we think now is a good time to kick it off because of the 5 new structures that Jeff was talking about that we'll start construction on. We need new homeowners and some of the rehabilitation proposals that we needed on some of the existing houses we own. So in both radio and also on television, you should see some advertising going on. That's more of a regional, though. We haven't jumped to that level that you're talking about of bringing those people that may be retired and want to move back into Paducah. I still think we need to work maybe with some of our other agencies to team up and have approach just to bring them back to Paducah General. And Fountain Avenue is one place that they could move to.
And not just not the ones that have left and to bring them back. I'm talking about you've got a whole population of baby boomers that are retiring. Well, they want to be maybe close to their children and their grandchildren, but not really in the same town. So they're looking for places to move.
Is that a problem?
So what do they want? They want a small house with not a big yard. They want being right in the middle of town where they can get on their bicycle or they can walk to downtown to the grocery store.
Medical facilities, yeah.
So I'm talking about making Paducah a destination for people looking for a place to retire and to live. Pam? Okay.
I think that's a great idea. I'd love to do more of that, and maybe next year I can look at using some of our resources towards that. The thing about when you start looking at those national advertising outlets, it's quite expensive
Quite
also.
expensive.
Yeah.
I know. So, good job, Steve.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner comments?
Can I ask a question, Mayor? On the Columbia Theater, it was pretty exciting to see the story. I think Mallory wrote that story. The Illinois Department of Art, I think it was taking an interest in that, and I was wondering if they are going to provide any money for actual renovation, or is it just for cost estimates and planning as far as an actual renovation goes?
They're going to provide a concept plan, and not really a concept plan because you already have the physical structure, but a fairly high-level renovation plan. So it will have cost estimates in it. That's, I think, as far as they're going to go with that. But you know, that's pretty significant. I think the other advantage of tying in with a department like that is the professors, particularly the one that was here, is connected nationally, if not internationally, and would certainly be a resource to us for finding other resources. So it's certainly a step in the right direction. And the group, you know, as the article suggested, was quite fired up about it, and discovered some uniquenesses to this particular structure that they thought might be attractive if and when the point in time comes when funding is looked for, and try to attract outside interest to come forward and assist with that. So pretty exciting.
To that point, will we see next week all those board members' names for appointment to the new
the
ERA board? I know, Mayor, I guess they're going to reappoint all those same people, but
Yeah, and we were going to increase it by a couple, weren't we?
Well, I believe there's at least one vacancy right now to get it up to 9, and there was a possibility of a early term ending for somebody who might elect to go off the board. So it'll be come forward at hopefully the next meeting, if not the one after that. But there'll be at least one new face, if not 2. That is assuming everyone on the board now agrees to be reappointed.
Yeah, there were some preliminary talks of who that 1 or 2 increase person should be. And maybe everybody's settled on that. I'm not aware of it if they have, but
what do you mean preliminary talks?
well, there were preliminary recommendations. I don't know whether they were solid recommendations.
Well, the board came up with 3 or 4 names some time ago, even before the reorganization formally began. So, that constitutes a pool for the mayor to take a look at and review.
I'm willing. Now, are we going to have that done for the next meeting? I guess we can.
We can certainly try, again, assuming that all or most of the existing board members are interested in reappointment, and having that pool that's pretty fresh. I would be pretty optimistic we'd be able to come back to the next meeting.
That answer question? Thank you. Okay. We have public comments. We have a Mr. Campbell. Real quick.
Mayor, it's an honor to be in the presence of so many wealthy folks. I get the idea sometimes that wealthy people don't understand poor people. Now, a few minutes ago, Bishop Dunbar walked in, and I would not want to speak before a bishop.
I don't know where we're going here. Reverend Dunbar, did you have some comments to make? Okay. All right. Well, having said that, there is no executive session. So, Pam, I won my bet, and we are adjourned.